We're going to the Shasta Caverns.
Man, I gotta be out of my mind. Be going crazy. 'Cause it
$6.95 is the exit we take on I-5. We are on I-5 right now. Going across the lake. Oh, there's somebody on a jet ski down there. $6.95.
I'm going this way.
Yep, we're gonna go to the Shasta Caverns.
I'm so excited.
Are you excited? Alright, so we just arrived. Looks like they have their own little vehicle right there. Say hi, Kenzie.
Hi. Hi.
Where are we?
I don't know.
Kenzie, where are we?
I don't know.
We don't know where we're at. We're at Lake Shasta Caverns. We're gonna go check in and see what time we get to go. No backpacks, strollers, no pets.
No. Why no pet? Coconut.
Yeah, they're made out of coconuts
Real
and they make sound. Kind of neat. We might need to get one of those.
Yeah, they're like guitars.
Yep. Look at all these gemstones. Don't.
I like,
Just look. You don't need to touch them. Just look them.
Ones.
Yeah, just put it back. Look at those. Those are really pretty too. That's called a peacock
I
ore.
can see them.
It's really pretty.
I can see them.
They got them all like so you can make a necklace. See, there's shark's teeth, and there's cords. So you can buy a string, and then you can buy one of those and make a necklace. Maybe when we come back, we'll pick a necklace. Okay?
I want to get that and then the purple one.
All right, we'll do that when we come back.
I like this purple
Yes.
one. We might find a diamond. I want that diamond.
Okay, so we're here at the Shasta Caverns, and which one did we decide on? We wanted this one or this one?
I want this one.
Okay.
Squirrel, Mama, look. Squirrel.
All right. So, and we have to turn it to the one we want. Let's see.
Mommy. Mama, you put this in your pocket.
I'll put it in my pocket.
No, I like that one. That's not our boat.
Okay.
This is our boat.
This is our boat.
Right there.
We get to ride a boat and then a bus. Got it.
Need to check your boarding pass.
Oh, Kylie's got it.
Corby, thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Whoa. We're moving.
Yeah, it's cruise lake.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Lake Shasta Caverns tour. My name is Tim. I'm your boat captain. And our destination is just straight across the lake. If you look in the cove on the other side, you can see a concrete walkway going up the shoreline. Once we get there, you will board a bus. The bus will take you up to the visitor center. If you look to the side of the mountain, you can see a large gray bare patch that extends almost to the water. About 2/3 of the way up, a line cuts across it. That is our road. Follow the road to the right. You may be able to see the white building tucked in the trees through all that haze up there. That is the visitor center, your destination. As we go across the lake, keep your eyes open for wildlife. The Forest Service says we have 67 bald eagles on the lake, so there's a possibility of seeing one flying around. Occasionally we do see bear and deer on the shoreline. If you happen to have any questions, feel free to come up and ask. I will answer them for you. You are free to move about the boat, take pictures, just leave the ramp open in front of me so that I can see, and enjoy your ride.
Let's see. That's where we're coming from.
Cool.
We're on a Cowie.
What, Kai? You can do it, baby. You're like the little engine that could.
This is where the water normally.
Those are some cool looking rocks. Okay, bus number 1. Want to get a good seat?
Yeah.
Go pick me a good seat.
I'll help you.
Okay?
Number 2.
Now we gotta go to number 1.
Yeah.
Bus number 1. Let's sit right here, Kai.
Hey.
Well, hello again. My name is Victoria. It hasn't changed since we've just met. But as we go up, I'll tell you all about this side of the lake and more about the caverns as we go in. I always like to start, though, and introduce someone very important. Say hi to Chris. He's your bus driver.
Hi, Chris.
Good afternoon.
Yes, little did you know, he is the most important person in our lives right now. Yes, because we're going about 1.4 miles in distance and ascending about 800 feet in elevation. So it's going to be very slow but steady bus ride all the way up to the top. But do not worry, this is not his first day on the job. It is his second, so he has some more experience now. He knows what he's doing. No, I'm joking. But if you look to your left and right, we are going through a mixed forest zone. So we have both types of trees, the ones that shed their leaves and the ones that don't. These ones to your right, those with the red bark, that's manzanita. You might have also seen the ones with the big pine cones, that's ponderosa pine. We have some California laurel. We have red oak, black oak, and poison oak. Are you familiar with poison oak?
Yes.
Yes. You don't need me to go out and get some clippings. We'll pass it around. You can get familiar up close with the plant. Any takers?
She needs some.
She needs some. Is anybody lucky enough to be immune to poison oak? Yes? Okay, we'll have you go get the clippings. But good luck with that. You're very lucky. Well, we do have quite a bit on this side, so if you are not as familiar, we have 2 sayings to give you an idea. Leaves of 3, leave it be. And if it's shiny, watch your hiney. It has a shiny erythritol oil on top of the leaves and on the stems. That's what gives you that nasty rash. So if you don't want to go home with that wonderful souvenir, just stay on our pathways, which is clear of that poison oak. Now another thing that we have quite a bit of is wildlife. This is the only road for about 20 square miles on this side of the lake. So So it gives us a great opportunity to see some. Now we have some gray squirrels, we have black-tailed deer, we have squirrels, we have quails, squirrels, bobcat squirrels, foxes, squirrels, mountain lion squirrels, and black bear.
You guys have squirrels here?
Yeah, I think we do. Just a few. But we have quite a bit. So keep your eyes open. If you see anything larger than a squirrel, give Chris a shout. We'll stop the bus and all go out and pet it.
Nice.
We actually did see a bear yesterday, so hopefully we'll get to see one today. We saw a little cub, and then mama bear is a couple feet back. So you're like, okay, we'll just keep going.
Want to go pet it?
But
Pet
is this
what?
everyone's first time on our tours?
Yeah.
Yeah? No one learns to train? Oh, I love first timers. Well, welcome. I hope you enjoy the tour. Is anyone familiar with Shasta Lake then? A little bit, some a little hesitant. Well, you'll be experts by the end if you don't know that much now. But Shasta Lake is the largest man-made lake in all of California. So it was made by inputting Shasta Dam. When they put in the dam, the water level rose. So now our average depth is about 400 feet deep. At its deepest point is right up against Shasta Dam and about 517 feet deep. So it's very deep. In comparison, in San Francisco, the lake there is only about 125 feet deep around the Golden Gate Bridge. So we are quite deeper than that. When the lake is full, it's not full at the moment. It's a little over 50 feet from the top, but it will have about 400 miles of shoreline. So if you were to drive all along the shore, it would be about the same distance from driving here to Portland, Oregon. So if you've ever taken that drive, you know how long that is. If you're many hours to it. Another thing is when they put in the dam and the water level rose, it did sink about 14 to 15 different mining towns in this area. Now everyone did evacuate before the dam was put in, so no one was harmed or injured, but there is one town very important to our cavern story. It's the town of Baird. Now this town of Baird had the first federally funded fish hatchery in the United States. They would actually send fish as far as New Zealand, and they had to hire a man of the name Charles Morton. Now, Charles Morton was a Wintu Native American and a hunter, so he was actually hired to get rid of the bobcats and mountain lions stealing the fish at the fish hatchery. So one day, he was hunting or tracking some bobcats up this mountain range, and he stumbled upon our natural entrance. Now, that natural entrance is no small hole in the wall. It's about 9 by 6 feet large, so it's pretty big. I'm just about 5'5", so if you add 4 more feet, that's how tall it is. So, again, pretty tall. He didn't go in it the first year he discovered it, which was 1877. He waited 1 whole year to get the proper equipment and training and brought his mining friend, James A. Richardson, and they descended into the caverns on November 3rd of 1878. So that was quite a long time ago, but that's the first documented exploration of our caverns. But are there any questions about that or anything you've seen so far on this side? No? No? Well, in a bit, we'll start to see better views of Shasta Lake to your right. They'll get better as we get a little higher and out of the tree line, and I'll point those out as we get to them. But Shasta Lake is used for a lot of different recreational purposes. We have many different marinas, and over a little bit, about 330 houseboats on Shasta Lake. And we sell over 1,000 houseboats just in the summer, so it can get very busy with houseboating and everything. Sometimes when we're going on our boat across, we kind of have to fight our way because there's other houseboats going to and from. So that's always fun and exciting.
All the boats.
But here's some of the views you can kind of start to see peeking through the trees. That white strip of boats over there, that's Holiday Harbor. That's the second largest marina on Shasta Lake. The largest one is Bridge Bay, that's a little south of here. If you look to the right of Holiday Harbor, you'll see our cove, where most of you just came from. So now you kind of know where you were, and now where we're going. So. But you cross the McCloud arm of Shasta Lake. Shasta Lake has 4 arms in total. Other than the McCloud, it has the Pitt River, the Squaw Creek, and the Sacramento River. So it goes into a lot of different areas. We are also a reservoir, so some of the water will be sold as far as Bakersfield, California, and we are a seaport. So sometimes we'll have aircraft come down, pick up the water to help combat the wildfires in the area. And I am pretty sure that they use some of our water to help combat the Carr Fire, which is south of here. And then another kind of fun thing that happens throughout the year is different fishing competitions. We have lots of big mouth bass, spotted bass. We do stock the lake with trout. And believe me or not, but we have freshwater jellyfish in the lake.
Wow.
Now, you may look at me and think it's not true, which I do not blame you. I did not believe the first time I heard it as well. But apparently during a trading incident, they fell into the lake. I don't know if they repopulated, but there's different articles you can read about it. So apparently they're smaller than a penny, so if they sting you, you won't feel the sting. But again, do not blame you. I didn't believe it at first, but you can look up the articles and then kind of believe what you want either way. But right here, this is our vista point. It arguably has the best view from our bus road. It is a little smoky out, but feel free, Chris will stop the bus so you can take a quick picture if you'd like, or just admire the view. We won't be going off the bus though, but. You may see that bridge off in the distance. It is a little smoky, especially over there, so it may be a little hard to see over there. But if you came from the south end, you most likely crossed that bridge out over there to the south side. That's the VFW bridge, or the Veterans of Foreign War Memorial Bridge. It's one of the tallest bridges of its kind, being a double-deck span support bridge. What that means is that it has 4 lanes of I-5 on top and 70 feet underneath it, an express railway of the Union Pacific Railroad. So if you went across on your vehicle, you never know. A train could have gone underneath you, so that's kind of cool. Some of the locals call it the Old Pitt River Bridge because there's an older bridge that they used to span the Pitt River over there in that area. But when they put in the dam, the water did flood up. And so that bridge is still over there, just about 100 to 200 feet submerged underneath the water. So people don't really use it anymore.
Yeah.
But is anyone afraid of heights? Maybe you are. If you are a little nervous, take a look to your left. There'll be a beautiful rock garden just for you. If not, continue to look to your right because we are coming up to an 800-foot drop of an unobstructed view all the way to the bottom of the lake.
Oh,
so
wow.
just take courage. Chris is the only bus driver not scared of heights. So he keeps his eyes open during this part. So be assured he will be driving safely. But that drop will come up in, I would say, about 5, maybe 4, 3, the suspense 2, 1.5.
Oh wow, there it is.
1/4 and 1. So there's that drop.
Oh, cool.
So if anybody wants to get out right now. Otherwise, again, you have that rock garden to your left.
We're going all the way up there. That's where the cave is.
Well, in a bit, we'll reach our visitor center. Once we get up there, Chris will stop the bus and we'll all offload once we get off. Please just go into the white gated area. It's just part of our safety protocol to have everyone inside the white gate before Chris can turn the bus around.
This is the visitor center. There's like a video. There's some bats. That little kind of hole right there, that's that 9 by 60. There's a close-up of it. It doesn't look that big from our kind of photo, but there it is. It didn't have that door when he first came in. We've added that since, so that way no bears or mountain lions will surprise us inside. But we do have the square boxes, so that way bats can come in and out. So we may see some bats today. I did see some on my earlier tour. And then you see those staircase, that's where we'll be going down. So it's too steep of a climb to really see from that perspective, but we will see a glimpse from the very last room inside. And then right here, this has a picture of that old Pitt River Bridge that I mentioned that's now submerged underneath the water. And then there's the VFW bridge behind it. That's so cool.
I remember a couple years ago when the water was so low that you could see it.
Yeah, I do. That was cool. Yeah.
Last thing listening.
It says do not touch rock formations, Kylie.
Oh, it's cool in there.
Ooh, it's really nice and cool. Yeah.
This is like nighttime.
Uh-huh. Well, it's a cave, baby. Hi, kids.
Hi.
Say hi to Tina.
Hi, Tina. It's beautiful in here.
That's it.
My legs cold. We're both wearing skirts.
That's okay. I'm wearing shorts.
Your legs are cold.
A little bit. Okay, we're gonna have to go up some stairs. Okay.
I feel wet, Daddy.
You feel something wet, Kylie?
Get everyone in here. This will be our first room. So as the last ones are kind of making their way in, feel free to take photos again at any point in time, even while I'm talking. That's perfectly fine. It won't bother me at all. Our Caverns does allow flash photography, so feel free to use flash at any point. But all I need is your ears, so that way everyone can hear. But this is our first room. It's known as the Discovery Room because we have discovered almost every single type of formation just in this room alone. So it's a very special room in our tour. I'll kind of tell you about how these formations are formed, but first I'll tell you how we get these caverns today. Now, all these rooms that you see are made through a hollowing out and filling in process. So a lot of the rock all along the outside is predominantly limestone. Limestone's a very unique rock. It's weak to acid. So as rain falls, it begins to collect the carbon dioxide we give off in the air, forming a weak carbonic acid. Now that acid is able to kind of start hitting the rock and create cracks and crevices. It'll then start to seep through those cracks and crevices and create cavities. So those cavities just get larger and larger and larger to then become these rooms that we're walking in right now. Now, of course, that didn't happen overnight. We estimate our caverns to be about 2 to 2.5 million years old. So it took a very long time for that hollowing out process to occur, but after that, it then has a filling in phase. So as the acid seeps through the limestone, it then collects calcium from inside the rock, creating calcium carbonate. Once it gets in these rooms, a chemical reaction occurs. The carbon dioxide is released, then pulls out the calcium, and it precipitates into a crystal known as calcite. So all these formations you're seeing in here is made of that calcite crystal. So I'll show you some of them, how they're formed. In here we have one of our smaller ones. We have quite a few. We have some here, here, there, and everywhere. Now, they're known as tubular stalactites or soda straws. They're hollow on the inside, so in theory you could pick that off and use it as a straw. Now, how they form though is when a drop of water hangs from the ceiling, at the base of that water drop precipitates a ring of that calcite crystal. That water drop will fall, another one will come right in its place, form another ring on top of that previous layer, and that continues to occur, creating this tube-like formations you see. Over time, they may get clogged though at the bottom. It kind of looks more like our ghost-like chili pepper right there, or our little cocoon up here. So now the water's forced to travel along the sides. They'll get thicker and larger and one day become a full-on stalactite as you see above me. Now we are in a living cavern, you could say, so this is still growing. You may see water travel along the sides. It will get to the bottom. A water drop will fall. That begins to create a new formation. Now that formation is known as this perfect concrete step that you see here. Joking, it's not going to make that. It'll actually make what is known as a stalagmite. We have one right there. So as the water drips down, it leaves precipitants that will build up into this cone-like shape. And as a stalagmite and a stalactite continue to grow, they may touch, then forming a column such as this. Underneath this column, we have our fastest growing formation. This is known as flowstone. It's the majority of what you'll see in our cavern since it does have the fastest growth rate of 4 cubic inches every 100 years. And that is our fastest one. The stalactites and stalagmites have a growth rate of 1 cubic inch every 100 years. So if you were to come back in 100 years, it would only get about that much bigger. So this is a very slow process. Even if you look at these soda straws, those are about 4 to 5 inches, so 4 to 500 years old. We also have one of my favorite formations right over here on the wall. This is known as cave bacon. So it forms as streams of water flow along the sides of the wall. It will leave precipitants that can then build up and at one point branch off, such as this. And as they continue to grow, getting longer and thicker, it will at one point become full-on cave drapery or drapeolites.
That's glittering, Mama.
Yeah, if you see the sparkly part right over here and all along this side too, that's known as a cleavage plane. That's just a fancy geology term to mean it has flat edges all along the side. So as you get closer, you can look at it and you'll see little flat edges. When light is shown upon those, it's able to sparkle and shimmer such as you see. But are there any questions so far? No? No? Okay, well I'll just hop to the front and we'll keep going on to the next room. Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
This stalactite here is a stalagmite. Take a look down to your right. You'll see what we call peanut brittle. If you like to eat this type of sweet, you know it looks pretty identical.
Where are the diamonds at? I don't understand the heart. I don't understand.
So is this your first time visiting caverns? Yes. Oh, so you kind of expected to see? Yeah.
There's light.
We're basically all the time, so you are just going through a rock. It's like you're in there. There's no rock.
Should we use the sticks or no?
Huh, baby?
Should we use the sticks? Why?
I don't know what they go to.
Last summer, one of our tour guides, we thought maybe 7, he came in and actually hit his head there and broke off a piece. If you get any water drops on you, you can't taste it. I've had people on my passports do that. Some say it tastes salty, some say it tastes like regular water. I've personally have not tried it, but people do that.
Stop.
If you get any drops on you though, we call those cave kisses. Caves like you.
This place.
Cave kisses, huh?
Come on, babe, let's go up here.
Can see. Come on, baby.
There's water in
That's how this cave was formed, was water. Okay, look, all those stairs.
If you want, you are able to touch or lean up against this. We put this in, so getting to the wire in some areas, it's not going to grow if you touch it. If you don't, it's already dead. If you have any questions as we're waiting, feel free to ask. Or just admire the view. That's fine.
So this is all natural, I think.
So this is, yeah, so all the rooms that we're seeing is through that hollowing out and filling in process. A lot of the tunnels connecting the rooms are through that blasting of the dynamite. Yeah, so those are
Let's
main
go out.
tunnels. So we'll get everyone in. Well, as everyone's making their way up, this room is known as the dome room. It gets that name for its dome-like shape as you see here. It's about 80 feet tall from where we are standing, so this is the second tallest room of the tour. We will see a room taller than this, believe that or not. But it's also known as a breakdown dome because at one point in time it was full with water. Now what occurred, you may have seen that peanut brittle earlier, that would form on top of a stagnant pool of water, just like ice kind of forms on top of a pond. But over time, as the water level went down, that peanut brittle or calcite raft was no longer able to hold its own weight up, so it would break down and fall, creating this pile of rubble that you see here today. Now, over time, flowstone has begun to come and cover almost all that was in its path and almost all that peanut brittle. At other points in time, the peanut brittle can hold its weight up, creating a false flooring. So we have a cave rule of one. You ever find yourself going to a cavern, you always want to bring at least one other person along. Usually someone you dislike, because you want them to go first and figure it out, because it's a false flooring. We also have our oldest and largest column in this room, right over here. This is quite bigger than that previous one we saw.
So that's one that.
Yes, so this is like the stalactite and stalagmite have combined. We also sometimes call them marriage bonds because they're stuck together now. But this is about 70 to 80,000 years old. So it's pretty old. Right to the left of this column, you'll see our Thompson Tunnel. Now this tunnel was created by a group of men known as the Thompson Brothers. They were hired around the late 1950s to renovate the whole caverns to be a show cave to bring tours in. So they're the ones who put in the concrete floorings, these railings, and most of the light fixtures that we're even using today. The reason why they were blasting through here, though, was in hopes of finding another room, such as the dome room, to add to the tour. But as they were blasting through, they heard water coming from the other side, so they stopped blasting because they didn't want to open that up, let the water flood in, ruin all the work they did, or flood themselves. So now we just have this dead-end tunnel. It goes back as you see that light, turn to the right, and that's kind of where it shuts itself off. You may also see many broken pieces inside the tunnel. That's due to the dynamite that we were using. We are only happy to show off really one of the broken pieces right up here. So here's a broken stalactite. It gives you a great picture of how all these formations are in fact this calcite crystal on the inside. If you're wondering where this brownish color along the outside is from, that's from a mineral known as iron oxide. It sounds very fancy and scientific, but it's also known as rust. So as you were coming up on the boat, you may have seen that the shore has the same brownish tint. It has that same color, so as the water seeps in, it's able to pick that up and then coat our caverns with this nice brown color. Another unique feature to this room is because of the dome-like shape, it has the best acoustics. That's why you can kind of hear my voice echo and ascend and go up. So I always offer on my tours, if there are any singers in the crowd and you would like to volunteer yourself, you are more than welcome to. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. Anyone? No? No? It has to be a self-volunteer. You can't volunteer someone else. But I've had anywhere from like a young little boy sing the periodic table to like a whole family just burst out in like a choir. So it's fun sometimes. I never know. I always offer them. But another unique feature to this room, it has what we call fantasy formations. Us tour guides spend a lot of time in here. And when we don't give tours, we just stare at the rock and start to see things. So I'll show you some of the stuff we see. Right over here we have our llama. There's its head, neck, and shaggy body. Some say a unicorn, so however you want to see it.
Unilon.
Yeah. We also have an eagle up here. There's its
see the
beak
eagle.
pointing up, its wings. It's trying to fly up and out of here. Then we have a dragon. There's its head and neck. Just kind of poking out to say hi. And then we have my favorite one. This one's a little more of a stretch. So if you already thought those were a stretch, she's a little bit more imagination. But we have Indiana Jones in here. Now he's very small. He's climbing up this little ledge. You see he's right there. You see his legs dangling off. Kind of like this. One
Yeah,
leg
I
is
do
kind
see
of
him.
reaching up. His
Yep.
right arm's reaching. Oh, yeah. You'll see like a hat, a backpack, a belt. But just to add to the story, he's trying to reach the crystal carrot up there. But we do spend a lot of time in here, so. But any other questions, comments, concerns? What?
What's in tunnel?
That's just, you see that light back there? There's not a lot. I will say, a lot of tour guides didn't know if it was a legend that they heard the water in the past. They didn't know if that was just like a passed down story to keep telling people. But a couple years back, because we had never heard the word, but a few years, one of my bosses went back there to change some of the lights, and we had such phenomenal rainfall that year that he did hear water emptying from one cavity to the next. So now we know that that story has a little more truth to it.
Wow.
So that's not every year, but when we get a lot of rain, we can still hear it. Yeah. But with that, there are no more questions. I'll just hop to the front, and then we'll keep going right this way. Okay, does it look a little familiar? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, the way we
Because
came
we're
in.
back in that discovery room, so it looks a little different. It's just because you're looking from a different perspective. You just did a little loop. But if you didn't get to see that peanut brittle earlier, again, it's right over here. Right there is where it's kind of holding its weight up, kind of creating that false flooring, as I mentioned. And then we have over here some of the crystals that's sparkling very beautifully.
Ooh, pretty.
When I do school groups sometimes, the kids will always say, can we have this in their classroom?
Aww.
I know, how cute.
Is that pretty? Yeah.
stop here, let everyone catch up. But as we're waiting, would you like to hear a very bad cave joke?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is a cave's favorite animal? Any guesses? No? I always tell people when someone gets it, I'll stop doing it because no guesses? Okay. Well, a cave's favorite animal is a duck because you have to duck down. Yeah, very bad. Guess I'll keep doing it. But at this point is where we're required to stop and let you know that this is where we're going up those stair steps you saw in the very beginning. That's 80 stair steps. After that 80 is another 100 in different increments, and then 250 down. That is outside. So if you feel that is too strenuous, you do have the option to take a right, go back down the first set of stairs we came up, and wait in the visitor center for the rest of the tour. Otherwise, just follow me. We'll take a left and go up those 80 steps. So the choice is yours. Choose wisely. I always tell my tours, if you do the 80, that's like the hardest part. So if you think you can get through that, you can kind of make your way through the rest. But with that, we'll keep on going and just choose wisely.
Slow down. Whew. Those 80 steps are steep.
But feel free to sit or stand, whatever you prefer. If you want to sit, I do recommend these benches. They're a little drier. Those are usually a little damp.
Want to have a seat? Let's sit down for a second. Okay.
The crystal room for our crystal chandelier right here. Now this chandelier is made of formations known as helictites and helicmites. They're actually the rarest formations in our caverns because these are made by water pressure, so you never know where they'll be. We have more all along this wall. Some are kind of twisting and turning. They go every which way in direction, so some say they look like curly fries. We even have some that defy gravity. If you look right up there, there's one getting pushed completely upwards, kind of like a tree root. And another getting pushed almost at a perfect 90-degree angle horizontally out of the stalactite. You may also notice the bumpy textures along the walls. We call this cave coral. It's also known as cave popcorn. We have more in this little cove. And its proper name is known as corallite. Now we have quite a bit in this room. There's two different processes that can create this formation. The first process is kind of like regular coral, and it needs to be submerged underneath the water. And then the second process is when water is splashed against the sides of the wall. Now you may be curious as to how splashing can occur. In a caverns, there would have to be water levels at this height. Water can seep in from the top, it would hit that water, and then that can be splashed on the sides. So that's one way in which that can occur. But we do predict that this room was once fully submerged because we do have cave coral all the way up there. So we know the water had to reach that height at some point in time. Another unique feature for this room is that it is the only room that can sometimes flood, and that's not every year, but some winters when we get a lot of rain, the water can rise up from this hole. It will come down here, create a little pond. That pond won't come high enough to obstruct our pathways, but just enough for you to kind of see it. And again, that's not every year, but some winters that can occur. We also have a fan favorite fantasy formation. We have our saber-toothed tiger right here. There's its head, paw, other paw, body. Looks like it's ready to pounce and attack the cave bacon right there. And if you look to the side of this bacon, you may see this hole. Now the light you see coming from there is not natural light. We did put in some lights, but this is a great example of the difference between a cave and a cavern. A cave you go in one way and you come out that same way. A cavern you go in one way and you'll go out a different way. So that's one of the distinctions. I still use those words kind of interchangeably, but now you know. So.
Cool.
We also have our best example of cave bacon right here. Looks a bit more like bacon. And we have another unique feature to calcite. When you put light up to calcite, when it doesn't have a lot of the iron oxide, that mineral giving it the color, it's a very transparent crystal. So when I put light up to calcite, it's able to shine through kind of like a salt lamp.
That's pretty.
Now this whole wall here is all flowstone, so it's all that calcite crystal. So as I bring my light down,
Don't touch it, kid.
it's able to go through it all. And then if I were to put this light up against limestone, it wouldn't go through. So that's one way in which you can tell if it's limestone or calcite.
Oh.
But are there any questions before we move on? No? Okay, well with that, we'll just keep going up to this next little room.
Hi, baby.
I feel 2 drops.
You've heard 2 rocks?
Yeah, dropped on my hair.
Oh.
They're still moving.
They call those angel or cave
Cave
kisses.
kisses.
Cave
So it
kisses.
likes you. The key likes you. If the key doesn't like you, the bats will drop something
Oh,
else.
nice.
So we'll wait for everyone to come in here. Sadly, I don't have any more jokes. So you may be happy about that. But if you're curious about that gate you saw, you may have seen that when you were coming up the 80.
Yeah.
When the Thompson brothers first did construction, they knew about this room, so they did a direct path up to here. They later found the crystal room, added that to the tour, so that direct path became obsolete. So now we really just use it for maintenance, but that's why we have it there. But feel free, you can kind of scoot in, we'll make some rooms. It's not as crowded in the back. Right there is good, I don't think you have to go farther than that. Okay. Well, as everyone makes their way in here, this room has 2 different names to it. The first name is known as the basement. And I know that sounds strange because we walked up all those steps to get to the basement. But that's because this was the last room that our first founders ever got to see. So it was discovered by James A. Richardson and Charles Morton. When they came in, they came opposite of how we're coming in. We came bottom up. They originally came top down. So it's a natural pathway to connect from the room we're going to go into next down here. Once they got here, there was a cave wall over there on that side that blocked them from going in or even knowing about those other rooms. Those were all discovered by the Thompson brothers when they came in and did construction on the caverns. So that's why we call it the basement. We also call it the dead room. No one died in here, but if you look above your heads, you notice there's not many formations forming. Now we believe that there's a pocket of clay above this room absorbing almost all the water that tries to seep in. There is still some water that gets in here, but it's not enough to continually keep these formations growing, so we use it for more educational purposes. We'll bring school groups in here, give them a hard hat and a spoon, let them dig around to find calcite that we've hidden. So this is the only room where you are allowed to touch the rock. So if you finally want to get that out of your system, this is the room to do it in. So feel free, you can come in here, go over there, get a good feel for the room. I'll point out a few things over here. This area is a little damper, so some people on my tours like to take the water on their fingers and taste it. I personally have not tried that, but feel free if you like. There you go. Some say it's salty, some say it tastes like regular water.
Not salty at all.
Not salty. I don't think it would be salty. That's what some people say. Right
touch a
here,
rock?
you have a big piece of calcite, so feel free to touch that if you'd like. Yeah, there you go. It also has a combination of limestone on top, so there's the limestone again.
cool.
It's not going through. You can kind of see the difference. Where is it? Right here. Here it is. Right. Trying to point the light at a good angle. Right here. Okay, if you look really closely, you can see the difference. There's the calcite, and then there's the
so
limestone.
Cool. Yeah.
We used to have a better spot, but I think someone moved it to where. But yeah.
Nice.
And then my favorite thing to touch in this room is right over here. These are early forms of the cave bacon, so if you want, you can touch that, give it a little tug, feel how strong and sturdy it is to the wall. Again, you don't have to touch anything I recommend. These are all just recommendations. You can touch anything that kind of gets your fancy. And then we have a column over here. Now this column is all calcite crystals, so when I put light up to it, it's able to go through.
Hold on.
Here, I'll hold it.
But feel free to touch any of those things. Once you get here to the railing, this is where you're no longer able to touch the rock. So get all your touches in beforehand. Maybe touch this as your last kind of touch place, or over there by the column. But as we go up, we will come to some very short and steep stair steps. So just use those railings if you need to. Once we pass those steps, we call them our Tinkerbell steps, then we'll go up some steps to your left. Look to your right though, you'll see some inscriptions. Now those inscriptions are written by the first founders. It reads J.A. Richardson, November 11th, 78. That is 1878. And C.M. for Charles Morton. So they wrote that with the soot of their carbide lanterns. And that date signifies when they came from this room we're coming into down to the basement. So I'll point it out as we go up, but with that, we'll
You
keep
feel the
going.
cool
And
air,
again, no
too.
more touching once you get to the railing.
Cool.
And again, that date is 1878. So as you're coming up, these inscriptions are right over there to your right.
Girl Scout.
Again, that's 1878. So as you come up, again, those inscriptions are right over there to your right, and that is 1878.
Letting no in the car.
Hasn't been here that long. Now feel free if you'd like, you can go inside our chimney room, watch your head on the way in and out, take a look up. You'll see a ladder. I'll have about 3 to 4 going at a time so that way it doesn't get so crowded. But there's a ladder in there. This is a natural way to get from the room we're going into down to the basement. The way we're going to be going up is man-made.
How old's that
That's where you
ladder?
can see these steps, lovely. But in there you'll see a ladder that's used by the first founders, so it's very old, very rusty. So we'll have a group go in, then another group can go in once they get out.
That's cool.
Watch your head though as you go in and out of there.
Use the railing, please.
It's really cold.
Well, that's good.
But that again was a natural way. This way is man-made. You can even see along the walls as you come up some of the. Oh, did you see a bat? Yeah. Yeah. You were sliding there, so it's just a big surprise. Did you say that? There's sometimes when bats fly through here, and you kind of just duck down. But yeah, the room we're going into is our bat room, so that's where we typically see the bats.
Cool.
But once we get here, take a look.
Hey, but way too fast.
Kylie, slow down.
Wow.
Oh, there's a bat.
Holy shit.
There's another bat. Oh, a bat. Cool.
There it goes. There's a bat.
That's really cool. There's another bat in here.
There was it. It went right up in here. But yeah, when you get up here, feel free to sit or stand, whatever you prefer. Oh, there's a bat.
Look how big it
Oh,
is
there's
in
another
here.
bat. There's 2 bats. Oh. No, get out. This is our natural entrance, so this is where the bats can come in and out from the outside. This is also where our founders came in from. But we call this room our cathedral room for our pipe-like organ right here.
That's cool.
It is the tallest room as well. It is 125 feet tall all the way to the top. It is, of course, our largest room and the last room. Now again, you may see the bats. This is where they came in from. So this is also, the founders rappelled down on ropes from this hole to get into this room. When they got in here, all they had were carbide lanterns. So that gave about as much light as one of these little lanterns on the ground, or maybe even less. So though they were the first to come in here, they didn't get to see as much as you are seeing right now, and especially not all of this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Oh, there's a bat.
Huh.
So we have California brown bats in here.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It is. And it's going through the natural. No, it went back. But as most people know, bats are nocturnal creatures. This is their bedtime. They don't really like all these lights in here. I love bats because they can eat about 3 times their own body weight in mosquitoes each night, and I absolutely hate mosquitoes, therefore I love bats. Another fact that you may not want to know, but I'll tell you anyway, is that bat guano is used in most agriculture and for most mascara products. That's a fun fact. So bat guano, or the poop. Yes. Yeah. And I know in a lot of the old wars they used to use it for gunpowder because it has nitrogen in it. So it's a very useful material. Another thing, if you went into the chimney room and saw that ladder, the top of that ladder is right over there.
Oh, cool.
So that, again, was a natural way to get from this room down to the basement. And then right above that ladder, you see some more inscriptions. Most of those were written by another group of men known as the Independent Order of the Oddfellows. Now, they were a club of slunkers and explorers who used these caverns for initiations into their club. So when they came in, they actually brought 30 men down to that basement room. That was the lowest point at that time. Gave them matches, water, and 24 hours to find their way out. Now, out of the 30, only 3 were able to get out on their own. But, oh my gosh, that's perfect.
What, princess? Yeah. That's cool where you can see the ladder come up. Oh, there's another bat. That's way cool. Yeah, what is that?
Doesn't it look like Groot? That's good. At the very top, do you see Groot?
Go ahead, baby.
Alright. Bus is opening.
Okay.
Yep. Bus is waiting, Kylie.
The bus is waiting for us. Where used to be people waiting on us. Yeah, we can get a picture by the bear. Daddy's got mommy's phone. We're gonna go ride the boat back to our area. The gift shop where our car is parked.
It's the boat.
Is the boat your favorite part of this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think
My favorite part was the cave,
I think my
where I got to see the old ladder. That was my favorite part. What was your favorite part?
My saw was
The cave.
Cave?
The
The old ladder?
yeah, and the old stuff in the cave.
Yeah, that was very cool. So our tour is the last one of the day because of the smoke. It is really smoky because of the car fire. You're scared? What are you scared of? Apparently the dinner cruise got canceled for tonight because of how smoky it is. Yeah, that was fun.